Hey guys, what's going on? It's If You Have to Pick Three. I'm Matt.
And I'm Zack.
And if you haven't joined us for one of these before, essentially what we're doing here is we're given a topic, we pick our top three, we fight it out for a final top three, and there we go. Nothing else happens.
Were you like waiting for the next step? It's like, oh, there's got to be more instructions, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow.
What are we doing this time?
I swear this is not going to be such a sad episode, but it is going to start on a sad note. In December of 2004, Dimebag Darrell was tragically killed. And on top of that, in June of 2019 marked 1 year since his brother and former bandmate Vinnie Paul passed away suddenly. But then a little bit of a brighter note, this year also marks 25 years since Pantera released Far Beyond Driven, which some love because it's an extreme album that made it to number one. You can almost argue it could never have happened in any other year besides 1994. So with all that in mind, and because Matt and I are just huge Pantera fans, we decided to name the top 3 Pantera songs of all time. ... that Art named Walk.
Walk. What do you say?
Well, I'm saying we're not picking that song. That's what I'm saying.
You talking to me, boy?
No, I am talking
Walk
to you.
on
I'm
home.
looking at you.
Just walk on
No, I
home.
have my car. Why would I walk? It's just silly.
Exercise.
Oh, yeah, I need exercise. So, Matt, what
want
are
me to
your
go
3
first?
songs? I want
All right.
you to go first.
All right, fine. I'll go first. We are going to go with the first song off the first album, the title track, Cowboys from Hell.
I'm going to pause you for a second. Just pause for a second. You mean their first major label debut album?
Okay, you know what? If you want to go down that road,
Yes.
fine. We're not. Okay. I'm not going to go back to when they were a glam band because according to everybody, it never happened.
So their first major label release, Cowboys from Hell.
Yes, the first track, the first Pantera that we all know and love. The mere fact that I even have to state that in here.
But you know what? I think that not to steal your thunder, but I think that kind of goes to show you how that really was a huge new reintroduction of the band, not just to a larger audience, but even to their then current fan base.
I would kind of say that they didn't have very many fans when they were a glam band. So, sure, if you want to go with that, we'll go with that. Fine. All right. But we are going to go with Cowboys from Hell. I mean,
What about that song?
the intro to the song, it just sounds like it's going to be something epic. The riff on the song, the bass, I mean, it's intense. It's the perfect track to lead off an album because that's essentially what you're getting from this entire album. You are getting Pantera, who are the Cowboys from Hell, and the lyrics, just everything about this song is what you are going to get from Pantera from here forward. It's the perfect song.
Okay. Next song.
Let's see. Got a couple other ones. All right.
You were so focused on that one that you were like, crap, I forgot 2 others.
No,
See,
no.
we needed more instructions to this game.
No, we don't need more. So let's see. We're going to go on the same album. We're going to go on Cowboys from Hell. We're going to go with the 5th track, and we're going to go with Cemetery Gates.
You're just showing off that you know track numbers.
Yeah. The reason why I'm going with this one, because it's kind of a bittersweet song at this point in time. I mean, it's a great song because going from a powerful opening track and then, tracks 2, 3, and 4 are essentially not in the same vein, but they're still very heavy tracks. Primal Concrete Sledge, Psycho Holiday, and Heresy. And then you get to this. This is the first time that you hear them do something a little bit more melodic, a little bit more ballady, and it's the perfect ballad from Pantera. You could argue that there's other ballads that they did throughout the years, like they did This Love. They did some other really slow tracks like Flood, but I mean, this one for me, this is it. This is like the definitive ballad from Pantera. If you wanted to know what the diverse range of Pantera is, you'd go from Cowboys from Hell to Cemetery Gates.
Third song.
We're going to go to the album that you talked about. On Far Beyond Driven, we're going to go with 5 Minutes Alone. I mean, how can you not? It's like a reintroduction of what made Cowboys from Hell so great. The riff, the lyrics, just the sheer brutalness of Phil Anselmo's voice on here, it's another one of those tracks that if you want to know who Pantera is, this is what you would give somebody to as a representation of that.
All right.
And if you ever want to beat the hell out of somebody, this is probably the song you'd want to beat the hell out of them
I
to.
feel like you could say that about every song from Pantera.
Not really.
Most of the songs from Pantera.
I
Even
would
the
go
ballads,
with this one.
you can be like, all right, I can beat someone up to this song. All right. So
Go
that's your
on.
3.
That's my 3.
My 3. So I'm actually going to, I feel like we're going to have a debate about this because you mentioned that you feel that Cemetery Gates is the ultimate ballad from Pantera.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would actually disagree. I think that goes to my first song, This Love.
I see. I knew you were going to pick that.
And the reason why I say is because we'll talk about Cemetery Gates again after I make picks, but this really does have one of the Dimebag Darrell's greatest solos. Just with it shows how he wasn't just about doing super speed solos, but actual songs with hooks and melodies. And then it also captures how incredibly in sync Dimebag and Vinnie were, how they were such an amazing duo that it made you question, could anyone but brothers be as tight as that? And I would also even argue that it was a ballad, but it still showed how crushing the band could be. So This Love, first song. Second song, also off of Vulgar Display of Power, Mouth for War. It's actually, I believe, the first single off the album before Walk. It often gets gets overshadowed by Walk. But at one point it was actually the theme song for Headbangers Ball, and it really just captures how tight of a group they were. They had an amazing groove to them, but also they can be thrashing speed at within a single second within the same song. To me, that actually captures better like what kind of band they were, with just the technicality and the sense for melodicism and still being able to be aggressive. So Mouth for War, second song. Third one, I'm ready for you to roll your eyes at me for this one.
Go on.
And I already know it's not going to be in the final 3, but I'm going to say it anyway because I think it deserves more credit than it gets.
If this goes where I think it's going, I already have a counter argument to it, even though it's not going to be in the final 3.
Revolution Is My Name.
Not where I thought you were going.
Where were you thinking I was going to go?
Find a Caravan.
No. That's a cover.
I know. I was going to... That's...
No.
Okay, go on.
Give me more credit, you jerk.
No.
Yes. Anyway, Revolution Is My Name. Now, this was definitely not one of their more well-known songs, and it might get scoffed because it was actually off of their last album, Reinventing Steel. But I think if you look at the band's history, they were going toward a dark place, with drugs and inner turmoil, and Reinventing Steel. I think what made everyone so sad that they eventually imploded and broke up was that they were on the verge of doing that, but then Reinventing Steel kind of came in and showed that the band still had it, that they were on the right track to being the Rolling Stones of metal that Dimebag had always hoped that they would be, that they would always be touring and never retire. And it just showed that he's still an incredible guitarist and versatile player too. Just the hooks, going from just different, tempos and speeds and just still staying so in sync with each other. And it's just so aggressive sounding still. And yet it's got a little bit of the ZZ Top flair that the band were influenced by. Also highlighting their love of Black Sabbath and even more aggressive, harder acts. It proved that, because you hear some bands like, oh yeah, it's time for them to call it quits. Reinventing Steel and that song specifically, Revolution My Name, proved that they still had it in them, and that it made them breaking up even sadder, because you listen to that song, it's like, yeah, they still had potential to do more. So my 3, This Love, Revolution Is My Name, Mouth for War. Matt, recap yours. It was 5 Minutes Alone.
5 Minutes Alone, Cemetery Gates, and Cowboys from Hell.
Okay, so first let's do the negotiations, because here's what I want to do. I want to make a suggestion for 2 of the spots.
Go on, let's hear it.
And then I want to debate the 3rd spot. Actually, let me give you 2 scenarios.
Go on.
We can either agree that 2 of the spots will be Mouth for War and Cowboys from Hell.
Okay.
And then we fight it out for the 3rd one between This Love versus Cemetery Gates.
Or
we could do Cowboys from Hell. No, actually, I was going to say, or we do This Love and Cemetery Gates and we fight for the 3rd spot. But I like the first scenario better. I think Cowboys from Hell and Mouth for War should be in the top 3.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's time to fight it out for that 3rd spot.
Yeah, because this is a very interesting spot to be in. Talking Pantera that you're talking, which is the better ballad.
Yeah.
Not the better like metal thrash song.
I would argue This Love better captures what Pantera did, because as much as I love Cemetery Gates, if you think about like even by like the late 90s, Pantera, or at least Philip Anselmo, couldn't really perform that song anymore. That was almost, if you think about it, like we talk about like the glam and power metal early days of Pantera, that was probably the last, that was almost like the retirement, the graveyard speech for the power metal days of Pantera. It had the last remaining elements of Anselmo trying to hit the Rob Halford kind of notes that he couldn't even continue doing post 94, let alone now.
Yeah, I mean, the more that I even think about this song and it potentially being on this list, it kind of feels like it's almost in bad taste. Just because, I mean, if you listen to the lyrics of the song, and yeah, some people will say that it's like a tribute to Vinnie Paul and Dime. Not really. It just doesn't feel right.
I just would also even argue that it's a great song. But when you think of Pantera and the style, like I would even argue that 5 Minutes Alone is almost a better representation of what Pantera ultimately were compared to Cemetery Gates. I think it was really the end of that certain era of the band. And it kills me to say that because I love that song and I love that album. But like they became such a different band on Cowboys from Hell. They became an even more different band. Like each album, they got heavier and grittier and more extreme.
Yeah, let's go with This Love.
Would you feel better if we did a different song than like we had either song cancel it out, or would you agree? Yeah?
Yeah, let's go with This Love.
So, to recap, the final 3, Cowboys from Hell, which is a great song.
Cowboy, yep.
Like you hear that riff and you're like
that's
getting ready to go into war. So, Cowboys from Hell, Mouth for War, and This Love.
Also, I will go on to say that anybody who has a CFH tattoo, and we didn't put that song on this list, I think they would revolt. Because that's who they were.
That song really did introduce the band and the new Pantera to the point where it was, I mean, I kept making fun of you for calling it their debut album, but it almost really was their debut album in a way.
Once again, nobody wants to acknowledge the glam Pantera with the Black Panther on the cover. Nobody wants to acknowledge that. So that's why we talk about the debut album being Cowboys from Hell.
So there you have it. That is our 3 best Pantera songs, not named Walk. Do you agree? Do you think that we left off a song that should have been in the top 3 on either of our lists or in the final? Let us know on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, MySpace, Pigeon.
And keep in mind, we can only pick 6 songs, so we can't pick necessarily your favorite Pantera
but
song.
You should still be
you should
angry.
let us know what it is.
Or is that the exact opposite that we want?
Don't be fucking hostile.
Badoots.
Yeah.
You're becoming of yourself. I'm broken. Anyway, let us know at Epic Footnote what songs you would have picked, and we hope that you tune in for another episode down the road. Thanks so much for listening.
Take it easy, guys. See you later.